For those of you guys that don't know me or you're brand new and you're wondering, are those jorts homemade? Yes, they are. Where you at? It was funny when I was talking to you guys about not being on Snapchat, one of your coaches was snapping a picture from stage going, hey, I gotta know, are those jorts homemade or what? Like, literally had Snapchat open while we were talking. Hey, I am so glad that you guys are here tonight and talking about being here. There are some big questions that people ask, and if you're new to Element, you need to know that we're not afraid to tackle big questions. And the first question I'm gonna come out of the gate tackling this with you guys tonight is, why are we here? There's two questions we're gonna talk about. Why are we here? And then we're gonna talk about, why are you here? And so when we're talking about this question of why we are here, anytime that we get a perspective of life that reminds us of how small we are, it makes us ask that question, why are we here? Man, that video at the beginning, did you guys catch that when it pulled up, right, on the Platte River? You imagine if you were standing in the middle of that river, you would just be a tiny, tiny speck on that water. And there's a reality that you're even a tinier speck than that, because that river is simply a tiny speck on the map of our state. And our state is a speck on our globe, and that globe is just a tiny little speck in our solar system. That solar system is a tiny little speck in our galaxy. And the galaxy that we exist in is a microscopic speck in the universe. It begs the question, why are we here and why do we exist? You guys, mankind has been asking this question for generations. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Why are we here? Sorry to get so deep so quick, but I am not afraid to do that. And we will not be afraid to do that at Element on Wednesday. So we are glad that you guys have joined us. What I want to do tonight is we're going to explore this question, and I'm going to challenge you guys with why you are here. And then we're going to spend some time digesting that in your small groups tonight, all right? So I know we've done a ton of praying tonight, and I want to do it again, you guys, because just from a personal standpoint, I have felt the weight of this school year starting on my shoulders so much. It feels like there has been so many different, I'm gonna call them spiritual attacks from so many different angles, that the enemy was wanting me to feel discouraged, or maybe he was questioning, putting in your mind whether or not you should even be here tonight. Maybe you had a friend that just kept bugging you and bugging you and bugging you and drug you here, and you're finally here. And so I want to just pray one more time over the night, if you would join me in prayer, and then we'll jump in. God, I thank you so much for these students. Father, I know that we are not here by accident. Father, I know that you created us with intention, that you created us with purpose. And Father, I know that the enemy wants us to believe otherwise. Lord, help us to grab hold of the truth that you are the creator God that created us with intention and with purpose, and we are created to worship you. And that is our sole purpose in existence, God, and help us to embrace that. Father, I ask this in your Son's name. Amen. You know, I look at that question of why we are here and where did we come from, and there's a lot of different angles that people take, right? Like, man, did we evolve from somewhere? Are we just an accident? Were we just placed here circumstantially? And none of that is true, but we fight with that idea because we want to know where we came from. Because there has got to be something more to this life than just simply what we have around us. Am I the only one that, have you guys ever laid down at night and gone, what is my purpose? Why am I even here? And this is a deep question because students, at the foundational level, you have got to understand that you are not an accident, that you are here on purpose. And I know that more so than ever in the course of history, I know that middle school and high school students struggle with that concept of, am I actually created with purpose, or was I an accident? Here is the truth. At the beginning of time, God is the one that spoke life into existence. He is the one that said, let it be, and it was. And that goes from everything from light to darkness, to the vegetation that we eat, the ground that we walk on, animals that you call your pets, the cats in my house. Yes, I love those cats. People that you call friends. Everybody, every single piece of thing that is in existence or has existed or will exist came from God. And that is the truth. But we have a hard time accepting that, because if I accept that as truth, that means I'm accountable to this God that created me. And that can be difficult. And another reason that can be difficult is we tend to look at our lives and go, I see so many imperfections. Or we look at the world around us and we see, I see so much that is wrong with the world around me. I have a hard time believing that a loving God would create this. When I see death, when I see destruction, when I see illness, when I see cancer, when I see, up and down your hallways, when I see people simply being mean, when I see all of those things, I have a hard time accepting that a loving God is the one that spoke this into existence. Some of you struggle with the idea that God knows you, and that he knows every aspect of your life. He knows you better than you know you. He knows your friends better than you know them. And you have a hard time accepting that because you feel alone and you're like, I don't know if I can accept the fact that there's a God that knows me. And I want to tell you, the why are we here? God created you because he felt like the world was just a little more incomplete without your presence. Now, it's not like the world revolves around you. Don't take this wrong, okay? The world would still go on without you and me being here, okay? So don't get me wrong in saying this. He created you on purpose, for a purpose. Can you understand that? He created you on purpose, for a purpose. The way that he formed your mind to think, the way that he formed your body to move, the way that he formed your hands to manipulate objects. He did all of that on purpose, for a purpose. And this is where the struggle is. The struggle is, what is that purpose? So why am I here? And it's simple, but it's complex. God created you and I for worship. We will worship something. And you may question this, like some people would say that we just had a worship set with music, with lyrics, with voices, that is called a worship set. I will tell you that we are gathered here to worship as a body of Christ, and we are worshiping in this moment. And if you're truly worshiping your Creator, God, you will worship God outside this building even more so than inside this building, and you worship by the way that you live. We are created to worship. Now, some of you have chosen your object of worship. We all have something that we worship, right? I want you to think about this for a minute, and if you want to simplify it, it comes down to where maybe you invest the majority of your time, the majority of your emotions, the majority of your resources. You will find the object of your worship, okay? So as I say that right now, I forgot to turn my notifications off. As I say that right now, in this moment, you had something come to mind, didn't you? It popped right in there. What gets the most of my resources? Because that could possibly be my object of worship. And the crazy thing is, you don't have to be taught to worship. Some of you guys were never taught how to worship the game of football. It just comes naturally that you know how to worship the game of football. Some of you never needed to be taught how to worship being a part of a drum line. Some of you never had to be taught how to worship, insert whatever activity that you're involved in. You didn't have to be taught that. But this is where we make the mistake, is we mistakenly insert the wrong things into that place of worship. And students, I wanted to start here tonight, start here at this first night of Element, explaining to you that we're going to be exploring the Creator God all year, who He is in relationship to you. Because why we are here is that we were created to worship a God that created this world, that did not intend this world to exist in the defunct state that it is. He did not intend the hurt. He did not intend the death. He did not intend the anger. He did not intend the hate. He didn't intend any of that. But He was good enough to send His Son to die in our place, to step in and go, even though I didn't intend it to be this way, I want to step in and fix it. And I want to step in and make things right. And the only way that things are made right, students, is through Jesus Christ. That is the only way that we can be made right with God. And that's when I tell you that the reason that we are here is to worship that God. That God that loves so unlimited. His love is so unlimited that there is no number of bad things that you can do to find yourself outside the possibility of His grace, His love, His mercy. There is nothing you can do to find yourself outside of that. And that is why we are here. We are here to recognize our need of His love and His grace and His mercy, and we're here to raise our hands and say, God, I cannot do this without You. We are here to say that, God, I am in need of You. We are here to bring Him glory. We cannot make the mistake of thinking that we exist for our own glory. We don't exist to simply consume on a Wednesday night. Wednesday night is not here. Element is not here for you, students. It is not here for your consumption. We gather here to bring glory to one God, to one Father, because of what He did for us. That is why we are here. It is not for you, believe it or not. So let me ask you the second question. Why are you here? Many of you are here simply because, man, how many of you have been coming since sixth grade? I want you to stand up. Stand up. How many of you guys since sixth grade? We got about half. Okay. All right, sit down. That means at some point, everybody else in this room was probably, one more, a better question. How many of you guys were invited by a friend and that was your first time here? Stand up. You were invited by a friend. A friend was like, hey, I want you to be here. Hey, I'm glad that you guys are here. Yeah. So here's the deal. I want to know why you are here. Because some of you, honestly, I know that you're here because your parents are making you be here. I get it. Some of you guys are here because, man, I heard that everybody's going over there and they totally, I don't know if I'm going to say this because we're going to they totally ripped off Patagonia's logos on their shirts and they look sweet. And I want to be a part of that, and I probably got to go there to get one of those shirts. Some of you guys are there for that shallow of a reason. Some of you guys are here because you think he's pretty cute. And you're like, I heard he's going to be here. So not only am I going to show up, but I'm going to bring my friends. Some of you guys are here. Some of you guys are genuinely here tonight because you had a friend say, hey, there's something you need, and you're going to find it here. And you're curious about this man named Jesus. You're curious about why a God would send His Son to die for you. You're curious about that whole thing. And you've got so many questions. And some of you are here, but you have doubts because you've been burned by the church. The church has been mean, or maybe the church has been less than personal. And you have questions. You're kind of here like this. Yeah, I'm here, but I don't want to be here. I want to know why you are here, and I want you to think about that for a moment. What is it that God has for you, or that God might possibly have for you? Because I'm going to share with you from one of my favorite books of the Bible tonight. Because I want to tell you why I'm here. I want to tell you why our coaches are here. In Ephesians chapter 3, verse 14, starting with verse 14, you're going to hear the very heart of why the ministry of Element exists, why the ministry of Third City Christian Church exists. You're going to hear it out of these verses. For this reason I kneel before the Father, from whom his whole family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being. Hear this, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the saints to grasp. I want you to hear this, students. I want you to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Jesus Christ. And I want you to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. That is my heart's desire, the sole purpose that this ministry of Third City Christian Church exists, is so that people would understand the vastness of the love of Jesus Christ. Students, I know that you are a generation that is hungry for relationship. I know that your relationships that you have that exist electronically through text messages, through Instagram, through Snapchat, I know that they are kind of satisfying, but I know that your heart is longing for something deeper. And the whole reason that I stand on this stage, the whole reason that Parker walks out here, the whole reason that you are going to be paired with a coach to be on a team so that they will know your name and you will know theirs, is because at the core of their desire is that you would know Christ. That is at the core of what we want for you. And we're going to explore that specifically over the next 6 weeks, and we will explore it week in, week out, every week at Element. And when you have questions, we want you asking them. Students, you have been chosen by your coach to be on a specific team that you're going to find out about tonight. It means you were picked to be there. And if this is your first week to be here this week, just go with your friend when we divide those groups up. We want you to be in that small group. But you were chosen for a purpose, because at the heart of your coach, the reason that they are there is they want you to understand the vastness of the love of Jesus Christ. Because we understand that you are hungry for genuine relationship. We know that you are hungry for it. And we know the only place to find that is at the cross of Jesus. So ask questions. Ask hard questions. Be transparent with your small group. Be transparent with your team. Be transparent with your coach. And I want to challenge you to see what will happen. Why are you here?